One of the worst things that a DJ can do or not take care of properly at someone's wedding is having their microphone go down or deal with issues with frequencies because they didn't take the time to properly scan the room and identify the proper frequency so that the mic is operational without conflict the entire celebration. Imagine being in the middle of a wedding ceremony and the microphone dying. Imagine being in the middle of introductions or having the best man or maid of honor in the middle of a toast, or the father of one of the people that has gotten married speaking on a microphone in front of all of their family and friends, and imagine that microphone dying, just stop working because the batteries died. Now, I want to offer you a couple of things that I think is super important for people that want to level up their wedding DJ game as a whole. So if you're a DJ and you're looking to take on wedding experiences, you have to understand that doing someone's wedding is an incredible responsibility, and you are the one that is in control of the tone, the vibe, and the basic atmosphere during that party. It's your job to make sure that your equipment is always functioning and always 100% ready to go. So I want to offer a couple things that I do and we do at SCE to make sure that our microphones are bulletproof during a celebration, whether it be a wedding, whether it be the party part. And here's what we do. First and foremost, we use the best stuff that we possibly can afford and that we can acquire. I like to use the Shure mics, and in today's system, I have the Shure QLXD line. I've got 2 microphones hooked up to my system here. I think it's super important to have stuff that works. I like this line because it's not overly expensive. I'll put some links to this line in the description of this video down below so you can get all the stats and hookups if you want to buy one. But these mics are bulletproof. I've used them all over the place and I've never had issues with frequencies, and I've never had issues with them just dying. I think Shure does an incredible job, and I'm not endorsed by Shure. I just think they're bulletproof. That's why so many people use them. I think Shure, Sennheiser, there's a lot of really great companies from a microphone perspective. But if you notice, I'm not saying these bootleg brands on Amazon. I'm not saying these knockoff brands that are trying to enter the market. I'm saying reputable brands that are known for that as their primary product. I think that's the difference, right? So I always try to use the middle of the line or the top of the line in terms of gear, but it's super, super important. Other things that we do is we always use a fresh set of batteries on site at each and every one of our events. Whether we start a ceremony or whether we're starting a reception, it's always a new pair of batteries. And yes, you can use batteries more than one event. You have to just check the meter, but make sure that you have fresh batteries in your gear to make sure that you have plenty of power to make sure that that goes off without a hitch. Another thing that I like to do is, if you're not into like throwing batteries away all the time and you're working all the time, you have to consider using one of these, which is a wireless charging battery pack for your mics. I've got this down here, and that's exactly what I use to make sure that my mics are always staying charged. So when I'm in the middle of a wedding, my mics go on that, they're being charged. When we set up and we're ready to go, the mics go in that, they're being charged. They're always going to be fresh when we start off a party, and I think that is super important. Other things that I think are super important in terms of microphone game and whatnot. It's never just one microphone on site an event. There's actually 2 that are operational, ready to go at all times. In the event that there is an issue with one, we have a second one ready to go, different frequencies, fresh batteries, so that it can pick up and ride and work with no issue. Always have a backup. As long as you can get it set up, always have a backup. And in addition to that, we have a handheld mic that is cabled and it's ready to go in this system. That's actually a second backup. It's a backup of a backup, and that might be extreme, but I've never had to use it. God forbid I had to. That would be the solution if everything else went down. Last but not least, always scan the frequencies, especially if you're in an area that you don't frequent often like we are today. Scan the frequencies, make sure there's nothing conflicting, whether it be with radio, whether it be with like helicopters, whether it be with building stuff, or maybe neighboring properties. Scan the frequencies to make sure that there's no like police crossover or anything that could impede that delivery of that signal for your celebration. Make sure that you check it. If you have tools like we do with the Touch Mix, you can scan the room to override frequencies that might cause screeching of the microphone or that might be disruptive during the party. I try to eliminate as much feedback as possible, and that's why I like the Touch Mix series of mixers by QSC, because you can actually scan the room, identify the frequencies that could cause some feedback, and you can isolate them and remove them so that that doesn't become an issue for you when you're on site and working later on when everything is going on at that wedding. Anyway, these are some tips to improve your wireless game. If you're a wedding DJ, you got to take this stuff seriously. If you're looking to excel in the world of weddings, you got to take this stuff seriously. Having equipment that is rock solid and bulletproof is everything. So invest wisely, invest in the best stuff that you can possibly afford, and try to get years of longevity. I don't like to set things up and break them down every time. I like to have my stuff set up in my equipment so it's always rack mounted. It's always ready to go. And I don't have to worry about like wear and tear on the equipment from being set up and broken down every single event. Now that's how I do things. It might not work for you, but the idea here is invest in the best stuff possible so that your wireless gear is bulletproof, so that you don't have an awkward situation where you're going to be bending for something to do because your microphones are not operational when someone is speaking at one of your weddings or ceremonies or something going on in the future. I hope you enjoyed this tip. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be on the lookout for more coming right here to the channel in these weeks and months ahead. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please join me, join us, join this community here. Make sure you crush that subscribe button down below. Be on the lookout. More content coming real soon. Thanks for watching.